Hello students, welcome back to a new video of Sunanda's tutorial. In this video we will discuss about the mechanism and pathway of ascent of sap inside the plant. So what is the meaning of ascent of sap? So water is absorbed from the soil through root hairs. So water after being absorbed by the roots is distributed in all parts of the plant. So in order to reach the topmost part of the plant, the water has to move upward in the stem. The upward movement of water is called as ascent of sap. Okay. Ascent of sap can be studied under following two heads. At first, what is the exact pathway of ascent of sap? Next, mechanism of ascent of sap. At first, path of ascent of sap. Ascent of sap takes place through xylem. It can be shown by the experiment. The first experiment was a leafy twig of balsam plant was taken and it is caught under water to avoid entry of air bubbles through cotton of the stem, and the cotton is placed in a beaker containing water with some colored with eosin dye. After some times, the colored lines will be seen moving upward in the stem. If section of stem are caught at this time, only xylem element will appear to be filled with colored water. So after placing it in a colored water, when we caught the stem or the transverse section of the stem is caught, we can observe that only the xylem elements are colored. Okay, so it simply proved that the xylem is responsible for upward movement of water from root to the topmost part of the plant. Next experiment is ringing experiment. A leafy twig from a tree is caught under water and placed in a beaker filled with water. A ring of bark is removed from the stem. After some times, it is observed that leaves above the ringing part of stem remains fresh and green. It is because water is being continuously supplied to upper part of the twig through xylem, and bark part is not responsible for the upward movement of water. Only xylem part is responsible. Okay. So after that, what is the mechanism behind this ascent of sap? To explain the underlying mechanism, a number of theories have been put forwarded. At first, vital theory, next root pressure theory, physical theory, finally transpiration pool and cohesion of water theory. So the first theory was vital theories. According to vital theories, ascent of sap under the control of vital activities in the stem. At first, Godleski theory or relay pump theory. So according to this theory, ascent of sap takes place due to pumping activity of xylem tissues. Next, pulsation theory. According to J.C. Bose, the upward translocation of water takes place due to pulsatory activity. It acts like a pulse. Activity of living cells of innermost cortical layer just outside the endodermis. So what are the objections of vital force theories? At first, Strasburger demonstrated that ascent of sap continues to occur even after killing the living cells. Next is root pressure theory. This theory was proposed by Priestley. The ascent of sap occurs due to root pressure developed in the root. The phenomenon of root pressure was first discovered by Stephen Hales, and the term root pressure was coined by also him. Root pressure is defined as a sort of hydrostatic pressure developed in the root due to excessive accumulation of water in the root. So here root create a pressure. And what are the objections? Although root pressure is developed in the xylem of roots, can raise water to some extent, but it does not seem to be effective force in ascent of sap due to some following reason. Magnitude of root pressure is very low. Even in the absence of root pressure, ascent of sap continues. For example, when leafy twig is caught under water and placed in a beaker full of water, it remains fresh and green for sufficient long time, where the root is totally absent. So, root is not responsible for ascent of sap. Next, physical force theories. Physical force theories propose that upward movement of sap within the plant is driven by a range of physical forces acting within the plant structure. The following theories have been proposed in support of it. At first, capillary force theory. Second one is atmospheric pressure theory. Third one is imbibition theory. The final one is transpiration pool theory, or cohesion tension theory, or Dixon-Joly theory. So at first, capillary force theory, Boehm for the first time proposed this theory. According to this theory, xylem vessels occur in the form of narrow capillary tubes extending from root up to the top of the plant body. Capillary force generated in capillary tube helps in the ascent of sap. But what are the objections? The average diameter of xylem vessel recorded in plant is about 0.03 micrometer. In a xylem vessel with a bore of 0.02 is capable of lifting water to maximum height of 150 centimeter. Therefore, it fails to explain how sap ascends in very tall tree. So, these are the objections, and capillary force theory failed to explain the mechanism underlying ascent of sap. Next, atmospheric pressure theory. According to this theory, due to rapid and continuous transpiration from the upper aerial part of the plant, particularly in the leaves, a vacuum is created in the leaves. To fill this vacuum, atmospheric pressure lifts water, causing ascent of sap. So, what are the objections? Atmospheric pressure can lift water to maximum height of 10 meter and cannot account for ascent of sap in taller trees. So, again, atmospheric pressure theory also fails to explain the exact mechanism of ascent of sap. Next, imbibition theory. This theory was proposed by Unger and Sachs. According to this theory, the plant body and the wall of lumen rich in hydrophobic colloids. These colloids help in imbibition of water, causing ascent of sap. Imbibition is a form of diffusion that leads to rise in volume due to water absorption by colloids. And what are the objections? Imbibition is very slow process. It cannot explain the tremendous amounts of water lost from aerial portion of the plant through transpiration. And it is already proved that ascent of sap occur through lumen of xylem vessels, not through the walls of xylem. Okay. Next, the final one, and which is the most accepted theory to explain the ascent of sap. This theory was proposed by Dixon and Joly in 1894. This theory was widely acknowledged as most favored and most correct explanation for how sap moves upward in the plants. According to this theory, water molecules that are together due to strong cohesive forces form into long continuous water column in the xylem vessels extending from root to the leaves. This cohesive force along with adhesive force exist between the water molecule and walls of xylem vessels. It prevents the water column from breaking even under state of high tension caused due to transpiration pool. So here only two forces acts. So first one is the water molecules are held together due to strong cohesive force, which helps them to form a long continuous water column in xylem vessels. And this cohesive force along with adhesive force exists between the water molecule and walls of xylem vessels that prevents the water column from breaking under a state of high tension caused due to transpiration pool. So here two forces act, one is adhesive force, one is cohesive force. Due to rapid transpiration from the mesophyll cells of leaves, due to rapid transpiration from the mesophyll cells of the leaves, the mesophyll cells lose water to the external atmosphere. This causes an increase in osmotic pressure of the mesophyll cells. So the mesophyll cells draw water from nearby mesophyll cells of lower osmotic pressure by osmosis. This process of osmosis continues from one mesophyll cell to next mesophyll of leaf. Thus osmotic gradient is built across the leaf. The deficit of water in terminal cells of this gradient is fulfilled by drawing water from xylem vessels. When many such vessels take up water from xylem vessel, a strong suction force called transpiration pool is developed, which pulls the water column upward, causing ascent of sap. The transpiration pool creates a negative pressure called tension in the sap of xylem vessel. This tension developed in xylem vessel of leaf is transmitted to the xylem vessel of root via xylem of shoot. This causes decrease in water potential of root cell. So root cells continuously draw water from the soil. So this is how the transpiration pool theory explains how the ascent of sap takes place. And what are the evidences finally to support the theory? The first one is, it is found that ascent of sap is directly proportional to the rate of transpiration. The magnitude of osmotic pressure of mesophyll cells of leaf has been recorded up to 20 atmospheric pressure, which quite sufficient for ascent of sap, as 1 atmospheric pressure is capable of lifting water to maximum height of 10 meter. The magnitude of cohesive force of water is about 300 atmospheric pressure, which is quite sufficient for ascent of sap, as cohesive force required for ascent of sap to the tip of tallest tree is 30 atmospheric pressure. It is purely physical force that do not require expenditure of energy or ATP. If energy is required, it is very negligible. The strongest evidence in support of this theory is provided by porous spot experiment. So these are different evidences to support the transpiration pool theory. So this is how the ascent of sap takes place inside the plant. So with this I am concluding my lecture video. I hope you will get benefit from this. If you liked it, please hit the like button, share with your other friends, and please subscribe to my channel Sunanda's Tutorial. Thank you.